She tried to kill my bees, so I let 50,000 of them introduce themselves properly. Yeah, that's how this whole mess peaked. A middle-aged woman in a designer blazer sprinting down my driveway like she was in a low-budget horror film, except instead of a chainsaw, there was a swarm. And instead of background music, it was pure, furious buzzing. And the worst part, I'm still not completely sure whether I was the hero or the villain. Before we get into it, tell me where you're watching from. And be honest, does your neighborhood have a Karen too? So here's how it started. I had 3 beehives in my backyard, sky blue boxes tucked behind flowering bushes near the fence. Italian honeybees, gentle girls, the kind that ignore you unless you go out of your way to bother them. I'd been keeping them almost 2 years. Fresh honey, thriving garden tomatoes the size of softballs, life was good. And I did everything right. Registered with the county, filed paperwork, checked HOA bylaws twice, nothing about bees. 0. My neighbors on both sides loved them. I'd even given them jars of honey with little handwritten labels like some wholesome suburban farmer. Every Saturday I'd suit up, lift frames, listen to that low, steady hum, thousands of wings moving in sync. It's peaceful, man. It's therapy. Then one morning I hear this voice behind me, sharp, tight, judgmental. Those are beehives. Not a question, an accusation. I turn around, slow veil covered in bees, and there she is, Karen, HOA president. Arms crossed, standing in my backyard like she owned the place. Yes, I said calmly, they're beehives. She launches into this speech about safety, liability, property values, multiple complaints. Which was funny because the only 2 neighbors who could even see my yard loved the bees. I explained county law supersedes HOA guidelines. I explained they're legal, licensed, registered. She didn't care. I'll be filing a formal complaint. And she marched out like she'd just declared war. 2 days later, certified letter. Remove hives in 7 days or face escalating fines. I didn't panic. I called the county agricultural office, got everything confirmed in writing, sent a polite but firm response telling the HOA they had 0 authority here. I thought that would end it. It did not. 3 days later, my neighbor texts me a photo while I'm at work. Karen's car in my driveway. She's in my backyard with 2 board members. When I got home, my stomach dropped. Huge red X's spray painted across every hive. The bees were frantic, confused, agitated, swirling in angry spirals, paint fumes everywhere. I checked my security footage. Crystal clear. Karen pulling a red spray can out of that massive purse like she was drawing a weapon, marking each hive for removal, laughing. The next morning, 2 colonies were gone. Just gone. Not dead on the ground. Vanished. The 3rd hive barely hanging on. Months of work, thousands of bees. That's when something in me went quiet. Not explosive anger, cold planning. I called my old mentor, Frank Beekeeper, for 40 years. He listened, let out this low chuckle. You thinking what I think you're thinking. He had an extra colony, not Italian, a hybrid strain. Legal, but defensive, the kind that doesn't forget a knock. I bought it. I repositioned all 4 hives along my side yard near the gate. Plain wood boxes. No markings except one tiny scratch underneath the defensive colony. My little secret. Then I waited. 4 days later, I'm watching my security feed from a grocery store parking lot. And there she is again, walking up my driveway like she pays the mortgage. She opens the side gate. Here's the thing, I hadn't told anyone I moved the hives. She walks right past them, laser focused on the old spot by the back fence. Finds nothing. Turns around. And that's when she sees them. She leans in. And then, and I swear this part still plays in slow motion in my head, she knocks. Not a tap. A knock. Like she's checking if someone's home. 3 seconds of silence. Then the entrance turns black. Bees pouring out like smoke. She freezes. Then screams. And they went straight for her. Not random buzzing. Targeted. Defensive pursuit. She ran for the gate, swatting shrieking words I didn't know existed. The blazer came off. She was whipping it around like she was fencing invisible swords. I laughed. I won't lie, I laughed. She made it to her car barely and peeled out so fast she left tire marks. And that's when my laughter faded. Because revenge feels good for about 15 seconds. Then consequences show up. By the time I got home, there was an ambulance, police car, animal control. Karen sitting on a tailgate covered in welts. She tried to kill me, she screamed. I explained trespassing. Showed footage of vandalism. The officer listened. Animal control wanted to inspect the hive. My heart pounded. Frank called and dropped the bomb. Africanized hybrid genetics, he said. Legal with special permits, not fully processed. And then he said something worse. She has a severe bee allergy. It's documented. My stomach turned to ice. This wasn't HOA drama anymore. This was manslaughter territory. Police reviewing footage. Animal control taking notes. Karen yelling about her allergy. And then my neighbor walked up, I've got ring footage of her trespassing at least 6 times, he said calmly. Everything shifted. Suddenly it wasn't just bees. It was patterns. That night I went through every second of security footage. And I noticed something. Karen wasn't just checking hives. She kept going to the same back corner of my yard, digging, using a metal detector, searching. I pulled county property records. 5 years earlier, the previous HOA treasurer accused the board president Karen of embezzling $40,000. Case settled quietly. No conviction. Evidence missing. Missing. My yard used to belong to that treasurer's cousin. I grabbed a shovel. 2 feet down metal lockbox wrapped in plastic. Inside bank transfers. Notes. Signatures. Proof. That's what she'd been looking for. The bees weren't the war. They were the distraction. Frank came over. We removed the aggressive colony that night. Next morning I met animal control and informed them the hive had been relocated to a licensed facility. Then I drove straight to the police station with the lockbox. 3 hours later, a detective looked at me and said, "This changes everything." 2 weeks later, Karen was escorted out of an HOA meeting in handcuffs. Embezzlement charges, news coverage, house for sale. The HOA sent me a formal apology and waived my dues for 2 years. And here's the part nobody likes to admit. Watching her leave in cuffs didn't feel triumphant. It felt heavy. Because somewhere in all of it, I crossed a line too. I weaponized nature. I knew what might happen. I let it happen. She knocked. She trespassed. She started it. But I didn't stop it. And here's what I learned. Power doesn't just corrupt loud people with clipboards. It tempts quiet people too. Revenge feels like justice when you're hurting. But real justice doesn't need you to orchestrate it. It waits. It builds. It exposes. I didn't destroy Karen. Her own secrets did. The bees, they just accelerated karma. So now I've got healthy documented hives. Peaceful garden. Quiet street. And sometimes when I hear that soft hum on a warm afternoon, I think about how close I came to ruining my own life trying to get even. So here's the question for you. If someone harms you first, how far is too far when you respond? Was I defending my property or setting a trap? Drop your thoughts below. Tell me where you're watching from. And tell me honestly, if you had 50,000 loyal friends and someone kept trespassing, would you have made the same call?
Cảm ơn các bạn đã xem video.